I'm Mark Vernarelli, and welcome to Inside Harford County, a program where we sit down with our community leaders and discuss the issues important to the citizens of Harford County. It's Wednesday, July the 10th. Is that possible already? We're airing live tonight from the Harford TV studio. You can give us a call and join the discussion, 638-3894. And my favorite time of the year is Farm Fair time, and that's what we're talking about. Can't be summer without visiting the Farm Fair. It's the 37th year of the Harford County Farm Fair, and it's, of course, at the heart of the agricultural heritage of the county. And with us tonight to discuss this year's event are Aimee O'Neill, the co-chair, and Lisa Maxwell, the secretary of the Farm Fair Board of Directors. Ladies, thank you very much for being here. I gave you a break tonight. I did not wear my gray shirt with the white sheep. I was going to do that, but you guys, on the other hand, you look fabulous in your Farm Fair shirts.
Thank you.
And we're excited about the Farm Fair, and I know that it only goes back, I say only 37 years, but packed a lot of excitement and a lot of fun things in the 37 years. Aimee, this year, it's coming right up. I mean, it's just a few days away. Tell us a little bit about your favorite part of the Farm Fair.
Well, so our fair starts July 20. It's running Saturday through Saturday, the 20th through the 27th. And fair is expanded because of the 4-H need for the shows throughout the fair. My favorite part of the fair is bringing the children to the fairgrounds. A couple of the events that I manage are the Chef's Challenge, which is on Monday evening, and then also the draft horse pulling demonstration, which is on Wednesday evening. And then on Saturday, I have my most favorite part of the fair, which is competitions and contests that the public can attend. So we have the Farm Baby Costume Contest that's at noon, and then we have a pie eating contest where people compete to eat a little round pie, which is sponsored by Weiss Markets. They provide us with the pies, and so to see who can eat those the fastest, but the best is the watermelon eating contest on Saturday the 27th, which will be at 2 p.m., sponsored by Donnie Kirk of Kirk's Farm Produce in Forest Hill. And Donnie always says, Aimee, if you're still having fun, I'm still having fun, and I'm going to bring those watermelons every year. We have four generations of watermelon eating contestants. Wow. Families that show up in their t-shirts, and they have their own little internal competition. So that day is a real joy for me, but I'm out there for the whole fair.
You got to knock it off with the food talk now. You're making me way too hungry. Lisa, you're a hardcore advocate of really going back to our roots, and as far as the farms being what feed us. And you were saying a minute ago before we went on the air that it's only 2% of the people in the country are farmers, and yet they have responsible for feeding the whole population, right?
It's actually 2% of the world population that feeds and clothes food and fiber. That's what they're agriculture products, and that's where we're 3 to 4 generations removed from the family farm, and there are a lot of people that don't realize exactly where their food and their fiber comes from. So that is why, and agriculture is also Maryland's #1 industry, and we hope that everybody will come down to the Farm Fair and be educated about agriculture. That is when we go back to our roots, that is where we're rooted, in that actual educating the public about agriculture.
Aimee, we don't just have Harford Countyans coming to the Farm Fair. Do you see a lot of people from other places who are kind of surprised at the agricultural heritage of Harford County?
We do have folks that come from all over the region. It is Harford County centric. I think most interesting is to experience with people their just awe and surprise that, well, eggs come from chickens, and is that a cow, or is that a sheep, or is that, and it's as elemental as that. And so you get to have that discovery with folks about learning about the livestock, and then how the different vegetables are grown, and the community participation in our open classes, our community classes, is also quite vigorous. And so we have people that they plan every year for what they're going to put into the fair. One of my nieces is the queen of hot peppers, and she's always very sure to compete. She's been competing since she was 10 or 12, and now she's 40 something, but she gets excited every year to send her hot peppers and her chocolate chip cookies and see if she gets that blue ribbon every year. So it's those types of traditions that are the real foundation of a fair.
And Lisa, you have a relative as well who's a Miss Agriculture of sorts, correct?
I do. My niece, Mackenzie Gill, from up in Narsville, is the 2024 National Miss Teen at Miss Agriculture USA, which she was crowned about a week and a half ago out in Ohio. So yes, she'll be at the fair. She will be showing her beef cattle, her sheep, and her goats, but then she also will be helping us out with passing out some prizes, some ribbons and prizes. So yes, we do have that. We do have that royalty.
That's exciting. Aimee, the fair is very affordable. It's not expensive at all for families. It's something a family can come to for the price. But you can also this year pre-order tickets. Is that right?
Yes, you can. You can go to the Farm Fair website at farmfair.org, and you can prepay for your tickets, which will then give you the opportunity to just walk through the ticket booth with your prepaid ticket, which can be on your phone. We are, we are in the 21st century, so we are able to take credit cards and debit cards as well as cash, and then we can scan those prepaid tickets as you come through. So we'll have a special line for that. Our ticket prices are $10 for adults from Saturday, the first Saturday, through Thursday. And then on Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th, we're going to have our truck and tractor pulls. So on those 2 days, the ticket prices go to $15 for adults. Those who are between the ages of 13 and 18 are $5 a day, every day of the fair. And children under the age of 13 are free every day of the fair. There is free parking. There's some parking on the fairgrounds itself, as well as on the former landfill site up on the hill. It's all free parking this year.
Speaking of the site, let's look at the map, and you can talk about people probably familiar with the fact that it's on Tollgate Road, of course, but a couple of things have changed this year. What's changed about the layout when you walk in off of Tollgate Road?
So there are a couple of significant changes. The first is that we are again parking on the fairgrounds, and the public parking is in the access is in a drive that goes right by the bypass, and so the people come in there and park and then come through a ticket booth. When that parking lot is full, then we will direct parking up onto the hill of the former landfill site, from which we will have both a walking trail and a tractor driven people mover wagon. So people will have a ride down the hill and back up to their cars. We expect that we'll be able to reduce the traffic backup, because from that off-site parking up on the hill, the people will then go directly out to Vale Road to leave the fairgrounds. So it'll be one way in and one way out, and we won't have as many backups of people coming back and forth. And we think that'll be much better traffic flow. One of the advantages of going back to our roots and not having the carnival is we also don't have the buses anymore, and we are able to park on the fairgrounds. And then the county has been very cooperative in creating more parking up on the hill so that we can accommodate that many more fairgoers without having to go to the off-site parking that we had in the past. So we don't have to have the buses, we don't have that expense, we don't have the carnival to help pay for the buses, and it's just so much more. It's more quiet, quite frankly, without the buses there, and it's just a much more friendly atmosphere, we feel.
Sure. Lisa, back to the root of this, which is the farming and the animals. My favorite part by far is seeing the animals, but you don't learn a lot if you're just seeing the animals. And this year, we're going to actually have the young people explaining about the animals, correct?
We are. We're going to have the 4-H'ers in the barns. At the end of each barn, they're going to be doing demonstrations about their project animals and answering questions, and parents and kids can get kind of a little more up close and personal to the animals themselves.
How is the participation in the 4-H and the other programs? It's still very strong, isn't it, throughout the county?
It is. I think Harford County is in the top 4. I think it's 4th as far as 4-H participation in the state of Maryland. We have several groups in the county. We have both community groups and special interest groups, and that are very, very active in a number of community service projects in their project areas. They're going to different various shows and fairs and showing off their projects. So it's very exciting. summertime is a great time to be a 4-H'er.
It really is. And how about in the schools? You still have partnerships going, I'm sure, with the Future Farmers of America and the ag programs in the school system.
We do with the FFA, especially at North Harford, with their agriculture magnet program, which I'm happy to say I have a daughter that went through that program, and that's a fantastic thing. And the Highland School has a new 4-H program.
That's great.
Yes, so we're very excited to incorporate the Highland School and their population into a new, and also their 4-H programs out on Aberdeen Proving Grounds as well.
That's great. Aimee, you couldn't do this without volunteers. So I know you want to give a shout out to the volunteers, some of the agencies and companies and individuals who help make this happen.
Well, it's a perfect segue because one of the my personal philosophies that I've been able to develop when working with the Farm Fair is giving youth an opportunity to be responsible. And as a volunteer, that's a great way to give someone the opportunity to be responsible. So we have partnerships not only with the 4-H FFA and magnet programs, but also in particular the Patterson Mill High School football team, their cheerleader team, the Harford Tech School sends many volunteers. In fact, Mr. Dave Hurick, who is the head coach at Patterson Mill and has been a volunteer with the football teams for over 20 years, bringing 15 to 20 quality volunteers to help us with our on-site traffic control, the Kidway, and ticket taking, selling tickets and such. But Dave's been doing this for over 20 years, and he brings these kids, and he has a disciplined group that is really a treasure to work with him each year. Matt Berg is with Harford Tech. He brings his group. We also have a partnership with Community Services. We have a great partnership with them. It provides an opportunity for those folks to come and get their community service hours. John Carroll School sends us kids because they have a responsibility of community service hours at their schools. It literally takes thousands of volunteers, and we can still use volunteers. We have a program for the schools. We actually pay a stipend to a nonprofit for volunteering at the fair. But those who want to just come and help with the fair, we do give them a little treat. For everyone who volunteers at least 4 hours, they get a food kit, so they can go and get a sandwich from Pondview Farm or from one of the other food vendors, and a drink and a treat. So we do have a little reward for those that come and volunteer. But I always say, hey, you get to see the inside workings of the fair. Come and spend a few hours helping us out, and then you get to spend the rest of the day at the fair.
Absolutely. Lisa, I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. Are you happy that we don't have any carnival rides anymore? That's a debate that you're either for it or against it, but if you really want to go back to your roots, as we say this year, you don't want the carnival rides, I'm sure.
Yes, and you know, when the farm fair was, we used to have a little 4-H fair at the Rocks at the 4-H camp. And then 37 years ago, a group got together and said, hey, we need to showcase what the hard work that these 4-Hers and FFA kids are putting together with their projects. We need to get a bigger venue. We need to get them out in the public. So that's how the Farm Fair was born. It was born to educate the public, and that original group said, we will never have a carnival. This is agriculture. They wanted it agriculturally based. So that's where we're going back to, because we really, really want to teach the public about agriculture and our roots in agriculture, and the fact that our roots are still strong. They really, really are. I mean, these kids that are coming out and showing their animals, and even if they don't show livestock, even if they're up in the 4-H building and they've brought flowers that they've grown, or tomatoes that they've raised, or woodworking projects that they've done. It's about them, and it's about showcasing their hard work that they've put together, that they've worked so hard, and getting them the recognition for that.
Aimee, I was just about to say before Lisa brought it up, the food and the craftsmanship that you see out there is something that maybe outsiders to the county would not expect to see, but it's all home done, and it's just tremendous work that you see out there that these kids, mostly young people, have done, right?
Well, yes, and the value of 4-H is that each child just determines or decides what the project. Lisa and I are both alums, 4-H alums, and you decide what your project is, and then you work that project. And the fair is the culmination of that year's work on that project. It's when you to demonstrate what you've learned and in that particular field. And 4-H is not, while it is certainly ag-centric, it is not exclusively ag. And there are robotics. There's a huge home arts, sewing and cooking, the cakes that the children decorate, that they create and bake and decorate, and the cookies, and all of this is part of 4-H. And the other piece that I want to make sure that we say about 4-H and where the fair also is a showcase for that is 4-H is intended to develop citizens, people who can communicate, people who are comfortable. Public speaking is a big part of 4-H, and it's a big, and that's why when Lisa was talking about the added aspect of the 4-Hers talking about their animals and about their projects, we really have encouraged the 4-H leadership to bring that to the fair. And I just want to take a moment to talk about the history of the fair and the Harford County Farm Fair in that group back 38 years ago, of which my dad was one of those incorporators. The other piece that they wanted to do was to recreate the tradition of the county fair, because the Harford County Fair actually had its roots in the 1890s, and it was held in Harford County from the 1890s to the 1960s, and the location of the county fair was what is presently the mall. That's where there was a racetrack, and that's where the county fair was held. And it was a very traditional county fair. My mom got blue ribbons for our angel food cakes. I mean, it was that county fair organizational structure. And the folks who ran it died out, the interest died out. And so that was also part of their incentive, was to recreate and provide this opportunity for future generations to say, let's not forget this whole heritage. So it not only gave a jump start, or it bolstered the 4-H program, but it also brought back a traditional event that had been lost for a few decades. And so we wanted to bring it back. And it was a great partnership. The county government has been a significant partner in the Farm Fair. The Harford County Farm Fair is not part of the county government. It is a separate nonprofit, but it is successful because of the cooperation of each administration along the way. And we've been working with every administration and have always received great support. And that's what helps make it viable.
That's what it's all about. Lisa, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. Get away from the animals and the food and the 4-H. What else do you like about the farm fair? There's a lot of other interesting stuff that happens that's not necessarily 4-H related. Tractor pulls and things like that.
Tractor pulls. This year we have the dock dogs back again. That's a huge favorite. And also this year, some of the 4-Hers were invited to learn to train their dogs to do the dock dog competition. So we'll see how the 4-Hers fare with their dogs as well. We have the racing pigs back again.
They're always a big hit.
All those things are a big hit. One of my personal favorites is the horse pulling demonstration. My family is kind of deep rooted in that. My grandfather was a big one for horse pulling. And so I love that. But we also have fun things like we have the corn husking this year, corn husking competition. So people can come out, and anybody, from young kids to senior citizens can come and compete in that as well. And we also this year have a mullet competition, which should be fun and interesting.
Yeah, to say the least.
To say the least.
To say the least.
So there are other lots and lots of fun things, and I like to get around to in the agriculture and environmental display. I like to get around and see and talk to the beekeepers and talk to the the recycling center and all these other different things that we have that are educational down in that agriculture and environmental tent as well.
Absolutely. So much interesting stuff. You really have to take your time and go through there very slowly, or you'll really miss out on a lot. Aimee, we have some restaurants and other businesses that are involved this year. Talk about that a little bit too.
Yes, well, we always have a good participation of local businesses. We do focus on local businesses, so we try to encourage and build our fair around local partnerships. I do want to mention that one thing that we haven't talked about, and I want to make sure that we put it out there, is one of our board members, Wendy Doring, has done a heroic job of putting together a concert series in partnership with Pepsi, one of our major sponsors. And we have really fine bands and very interesting bands each evening, as well as one evening where we have marching bands from from various schools within the county. So they'll be just marching around the fairgrounds, playing music, which I think is just delightful. But we have music every night. So it's like that $5 or $10 is a cover charge. There's just a lot of activities that are going on. And we have various food vendors. We have both food trucks and stationary food vendors. We have Pondview Farm is back as one of our major food vendors, and then we have Cowboy Eats. We have Kona Ice. We have Spready Oak. A variety of really nice food events. And what we've done with the fair is to make it both easier on the vendors and also more interesting to the public, because we don't have the same vendors every day. We have moved our food vendors and expanded to the area where they had been traditionally, so that we are opening up the fairgrounds. We'll have a mechanical bull back this year, and we have Krabby Axe there every day. We also have Harford Vineyards there, going to be there every day of the fair, and Slate Brewery is going to be there. And those are local alcohol purveyors. And Harford Vineyard is also one of our sponsors of our Chef's Challenge, which is one of my near and dear projects at the fair, where we are bringing in from the local food industry 111 Maine, the local. We also have La Maison, who is a caterer out of Havre-de-Grace, and then a family, the Guarino family out of Joppa, who they're foodies, and they come and they compete against 111 Maine, the chef Brian and the chef Zach at the local, and they just have a great time, and they do a wonderful job. We actually have district court judges who are the judges at the Chef's Challenge. That's on a Monday night at 6:30, and so we do have a lot of participation within the community.
And again, we encourage people to look at the website, because there really are so many activities every day, different activities. So please check the website out. And again, talk about the prepaying tickets. You can do that on the website, right?
Go onto the website, and you can just follow to purchase those tickets ahead of time. And that way, when you get off the People Mover and you don't have to stand in line, you can just go right through that prepaid line, and we'll just scan your little code and be all part of the 21st century and all that's technology. Yeah. But yes, we're all set up for that, and it does make it more convenient for fairgoers. You do have to buy tickets for every day. We don't have a package, but you can pick and choose the days that you want to for which you want to purchase your tickets.
Lisa, your heart is just warmed at the very thought of Harford County being in the top 4 or 5 in the state in terms of a farm fair, right? In terms of agriculture. I know that's your heritage, and it means a lot to you to see that we're keeping that going.
Yes, it does. It does, definitely. And I want to say one other thing about the website. There's also, if anybody who would like to volunteer, there's a volunteer section. Get on that website and fill out the volunteer information and come to the fair and get in on the ground level of it and help us out, because we really can't do it without volunteers. And yes, I really am excited about some of the things that we've got going this year at the fair, and I really, really hope that people come out. As I said, everybody always cries for, bring us something different, bring us something different. Well, we have this year. Oh, another thing that's different is the Tough Trucks.
Yes.
On Monday and Tuesday night on the track, we have Tough Trucks, which that's something that a lot of people have gone up to the Buck to see the Tough Trucks. Mm-hmm. So we have them as well, and 2 nights of tractor pull. So, and also, as I said, come for the kids, come watch the kids at their various livestock shows, come talk to them, come watch their demonstrations, come watch the fashion review.
There's just so much.
There's just so much.
So much.
And enter in the community entries, because anybody can enter. If you grow a garden and you have beautiful tomatoes, bring us tomatoes to be judged. If you like to paint or draw, bring us a drawing, bring us a painting, and participate. Get out there and become part of Harford County's heritage at the farm fair.
And speaking of heritage, you said your mother actually won a ribbon for her angel food cake?
She used to get blue ribbons for angel food cake back at the fair in the 50s.
Right.
And yes, my dad was part of the group that restarted the fair, and I actually met my husband working on the fair, and so
now there's
raised
a
my
story.
boys.
That's
raised
wonderful.
both of my boys, and my older son, he's 30 now and 31 actually, and he comes home for the fair every year. He doesn't live in Maryland, but he comes home every year, spends that week with us, and he helps to manage the on-grounds Kidway, which is our children's activities, as well as parking and such. But it's part of our family tradition. Absolutely.
So if not for the farm fair, you wouldn't have met your husband. How about them apples,
That is an actual fact.
That's
that
really
is a
something.
fact. And I also want to mention that for those cornhole aficionados, we have a cornhole competition that people can join, and that's on Sunday. And we also have horseshoe pitching. So we have all these different activities that people.
Spelling bee.
We have the Harford
Spelling
County
bee.
Library.
How could I
Spelling
forget
bee.
the spelling
Yes,
bee?
the spelling
Right.
bee
Can't forget
comes
the
in
spelling
every
bee.
Wednesday night. That's on Wednesday night. And so farmfair.org, farmfair.org, that's our website. It's very easy. And we really want to make sure, too, that we recognize the sponsors, the business sponsors that have that donate every year to supplement. Our ticket sales are not enough to make this fair go on, because our fairgrounds, while Harford County makes them available to us, the Equestrian Center, we have to bring in tents, we have to bring in spotta-pots, we have to bring in electricity and this, that, and the other. Our major sponsors this year, we've mentioned Pepsi, we've mentioned Harford County, but also Jones Junction is a major sponsor this year. And they have really contributed to the fair. We also have the Klein's family, ShopRite, our sponsors, as well as Pondview Farm. They're a food vendor, but they've also stepped up as a major sponsor, Krause Construction.
Well, I can't wait. I am so excited. And looking at your shirts makes me even more excited, because I just love those shirts. But thank you both very much for being here. We're looking forward to it. Check out that website so that you can get your tickets ahead of time. Thank you, Aimee and Lisa. Thank you so much for both being here. We'll look forward to seeing you at the farm fair. And thank you very much for watching Inside Harford County, airing exclusively on Harford TV. Join us again next month. I'm Mark Vernarelli on behalf of the entire crew here at Harford TV. Thanks again for watching.